What's good? We back. It's Box Click and more. Talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. You guys know we do more than boxing. And like I told people, that him and LeBron and Isaiah Thomas wasn't gonna work. And people, believe, LeBron is just so above certain things and believe he don't do nothing wrong, and people call him an all-time great. He is an all-time great, but trying to say he above Jordan and stuff of that nature, most definitely not. And it's flaws in his game that people just seem to overlook. And one of his major flaws in his game is, his limitations on the offensive end of the floor. And when people say limitations, I don't understand it. He needs the ball in his hand to be effective. And guess what? Isaiah Thomas needs the ball in his hand to be effective. Dwayne Wade needs the ball in his hand to be effective. You got three of your best players. Kevin Love needs the ball in his hand to be effective. When you say Kevin Love, what does Kevin Love do, without the ball? He rebounding. He don't defend. He might can spot up and shoot. Maybe that's what it is. He could post up, but he ain't doing nothing, he ain't doing the dirty work that Chris Bosh did in Miami. So he's not effective without the ball. He's a dude that need the ball. Either he rebounding or he's scoring. He's not doing nothing, none of the dirty work. You know what I'm saying? And all these guys are ball dominant, guys on their team. It just doesn't mesh. You know what I'm saying? And LeBron is in his 15th year, and the energy level isn't there. We've seen the last few years, you guys saying, oh, he's tired of the playoffs, he's playing too many minutes. Now, Father Time could be catching up with LeBron. You know what I'm saying? The injuries haven't came, but now the energy level isn't there in the middle of the season. He need a refresher. But, he's just ball dominant. He can't play without the ball. He can't let Isaiah go out there and do his thing. And that was the thing in Miami. Dwayne Wade was willing to defer to him, and Chris Bosh was willing to defer to him. And your offense has to be tailor-made around LeBron James. There's no other way around unless he's not on the floor. Then you can let Isaiah Thomas do their thing. And that's why you say, oh, they want to stagger Isaiah Thomas and LeBron minutes so they both can be effective, be effective. But you're paying both of these guys to be here and play and cause a threat on the floor together. And both don't play no defense at this point in their career, especially LeBron. So that's the issue. LeBron, doesn't want to. He wants to dictate the whole offense. He wants the ball in his hand. He wants to make the first, second, third, last decision, all that. Until it's crunch time, and he wants somebody else to go win the game for him. And that's the only time he don't want the ball in his hand. So, it just ain't working. What Cleveland needs to do is find some dirty work type of guys. DeAndre Jordan, and some spot-up shooters pretty much. That's going to knock down some shots. Because, and people talking about LeBron going to Houston, you add another ball-dominant guy to two other ball-dominant guys in Chris Paul and James Harden, which is working beautifully between them, and they hadn't figured it out. But you think they want to defer to LeBron James once again? I don't think so. They'll welcome him on, but he's going to have to take a different type of role in that offense if that was to happen. But, this Cleveland don't have no ball movement. That's why Kyrie wanted to get up out of there, because Kyrie couldn't be the point guard that he wanted to be. He wasn't going to flourish in Cleveland, and he knew once he got his ring, he cool. He got his ring. I play my cards the way I think I play my cards. I get another ring in Boston, maybe so. They got a good thing going over there, good coach, but they're gonna have to overhaul this offense and let Isaiah Thomas, if they choose to keep him with LeBron, run some plays for him, let him handle the ball, let him kind of dictate the offense, and get LeBron on some cuts and some screens. And get him playing off the ball. That's what's gonna have to be. They got to get this dude involved. Off the ball, man. Run off some screens, pop up, post up. Stuff of that nature. They have to get creative with the offense. Their offense is very, very, basic. It's LeBron with the ball, make a play, or make a play with somebody else. And it can't be that way. If you're gonna want Isaiah Thomas there, you gotta let him do his thing. You gotta let him hold the ball and play make for LeBron. Make LeBron jobs easier. Now, I know LeBron don't want to do that, but at the end of the day, that's the only way they don't win the East and possibly win a championship, even though that's, impossible in my opinion with the roster they got. But they got to let Isaiah Thomas, come off picks, let Dwayne Wade, run the offense sometime. Let him get in the rhythm. Let them create for LeBron, because LeBron wants to create everything, but he don't know, because he ain't never really had a strong coach, to really tell him that if you play off the ball and you post up off the ball and get you some easy buckets, it's going to be easy for you. It's going to be easy. Awesome back screens, pick and pop. You picking, you picking and rolling with Isaiah Thomas. Him coming off, y'all setting screens like Reggie Miller, Rip Hamilton. You catching and shooting. You screening and rolling and cutting to the basket. Similar to the 3 straight plays they ran with Shannon Fry the other night. They need to get him involved that way. And it'll make his game so much easier. But Tyronn Lue don't have the balls to make that decision and tell LeBron it's the offense that we going to run. And then LeBron still can, create and do his thing at certain times. But they need to really predicate their offense or let somebody else handle that ball some of the time. I say about 30, 40% of the time, LeBron can still be the point forward about 60% of the time. That's cool. But you got to switch it up. People already know what you're going to do. They know LeBron is going to dribble, drive, kick, or try to create assists and pad his stats like he usually do. They need to take that man and sit him down and tell him, look, the game is going to be easier. Come on, come off screens. Post up a little bit. Roll or come off the curl and shoot. You know what I'm saying? Come off the Rip Hamilton and Reggie Miller screens and catch and shoot. Let Isaiah Thomas be Isaiah Thomas. And what's funny about it is LeBron was like, I was ready to let Kyrie get him the keys to the car or keys to the team. BS. Because that was the case, you would let Wade and Calderon and Isaiah Thomas handle the ball more. I know they're not Kyrie, but at the same time, you would have been did that and you knew Kyrie was unhappy. But you didn't want to do that. So at the end of the day, it's just adjusting the offense and recommitting to the defensive side of the floor, which we didn't get into. And, it's just, they don't have to run a different offense. With LeBron, they want to be successful. And, that's what it's going to have to be. No disrespect to him. But he got to do other things in the offense and stop making the offense so staying that still where you got the ball and everybody watching you creating for everybody. That's old. The league adjusted to that. It's time for them to put some flair in their offense, and hopefully Tyronn Lue know that. We gone.